Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new thing that we are calling someone has to restart their computer and reconnect to Zoom. Guess who? And so we're going to be letting that happen before we kick off on tonight's role playing. Now someone has joined Zoom twice. Again, guess who? No, I'm being facetious now. So yes. So in encoded secret transmission, whoever's joined Zoom twice needs to leave Zoom once before Tuesday at 6:07 p.m. No, not getting that one. Okay. Well, we'll see. Maybe. There we go. Okay. Great stuff. I hope you're ready for a good show tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully that everyone who is in Albuquerque has remembered to reset their cameras and change over to their positions based on where they were originally. But we'll find out if all of that went through. Confused? You should be. You should be. I am. So there we go. Anyway, on with tonight's show. Here we go. And hello, everybody. And they got my messaging. Yay! The codes worked. Look at all of that. Look at everybody. Let me resize some people and shift some people around. But it's good to see you guys all back here again tonight. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I hope we're going to have a lot of fun. How are you guys doing?
Great.
I have 2 interviews this week.
You have 2 interviews this week?
Yeah.
In real life? I'm just trying to remember if Murin had real interviews.
No, this is Marie. She had 2 interviews. I've been out of work for like 12 years. So.
Well, 2 interviews is not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Okay, so everyone is in chat that I can see anyway, and it's good to have you all here in chat. I see. Oh no, I stand corrected. I was wondering what Lance Pickett was going to greet us with, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. I have a question for you all. Do any of you know Edgar Allan Poe's poem The Raven?
Yes.
It was my literal bedtime story as a child because my parents were weird.
Interesting. I did not know this poem. I obviously knew who Edgar Allan Poe was, but I had not read his poem for whatever reason. And a friend of mine the other day said, "Oh, please, just read this poem out for my wife." So I read it out, and it was so much fun to read. If any of you ever want tongue loosening techniques, Edgar Allan Poe's poem The Raven is a great deal of fun. And I personally, maybe this is oversharing, but it's probably the most amount of fun you can have with your mouth whilst reading out loud. It's got some great little things going on in there, and it's
also, if you want, Guy, I speak Italian and I can do a little Portuguese. If you want me, I can read this one out.
In Portuguese?
Yeah, it's just phonetically written. Crepusculo della noite, depois deixou o escuro, e que não haja tristeza de despedida quando eu embarcar. Português. Yeah, it's Tennyson.
Wow.
I know this poem too. It made it easier.
There we are.
I'm a Tennyson fan.
You are a Tennyson fan. Okay.
What does it mean?
Twilight Evening Bell, and after that, the dark. And
Dark,
may
and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. That's my favorite poem.
Portuguese is, I apologize if I offend everyone on the internet. Portuguese just basically sounds like drunk Italian. Instead of a sa, you get a sha.
Okay. Well, there we go. Now that we've insulted the Italians. But no, Lance Pickett, it's not that Poe isn't very popular in South Africa. It's that I don't like poetry, generally speaking.
If you want something else to try for loosening your tongue, try the opening scene of Richard III.
Oh, God.
Now I'm trying to remember the opening scene of Richard III.
By Shakespeare.
Yeah.
You know what, guys? I want to play some D&D.
In other words, shut up and stop playing,
I
we're-
didn't say that.
No, you didn't.
like
You
15
didn't.
minutes.
You didn't. You didn't. I did. No, we're also on the clock, so you're quite right. Sorry. Waxing lyrical. Okay. So, yes, let's... I might be a bit loud. Sorry, folks. Let me just drop this volume here. I'm just checking my levels. That should sound a little bit better, less overmodulation. As a matter of fact, Mirren, why don't you give us a recap of what happened last week, if you please?
Okay, last week we entered a new room with 4 statues and a cairn in the middle with that was glowing and it had skulls in it. We investigated the room a bit. I found a legend on the cairn that would open the door. So I suggested to everyone that if we all get ready first before the door is open, we can catch whoever we could hear beyond by surprise. So everyone agreed. So I said, read me to open the door. And the door opened, but not before we had to fight an amazingly large 3-headed shark. We took care of that with some difficulty and some healing, but nothing really enormously bad. Went into the next room, and I have maps. Anyway, the next room had 4 crypts, one of which is empty, and we could hear arguing behind the door right across from us. So, our barbarian went up to the door and wanted to bash it in. I was hiding behind a crypt, and Raj, Shifty, and Demos were standing at the door. A frail little merfolk woman came out, and there was some tussle at the door. We heard crunching of bone. And when the door was finally opened, a beam of light shot out. It looked like a black cloud, but it happened to be an enormous amount, more than expected, of necromantic energy that I did not survive. I went down, but not before revealing my position. So I was tended to by Raj. Demos ran in and started taking care of the necromancer that shot that. Inside was a glowing stone, a crystal that we found out later draws power from the dead in the temple and apparently shoots it up to the lighthouse at Aramosikala. So we found the source of the light. We ended by, incapacitating the necromancer. And there are no other beings around. When we broke the crystal, it seemed as if it released the souls of those who were being siphoned for energy.
That's it. That's a pretty thorough recap of last week.
Point of order.
I will also say that Demos took significant injuries also.
That's fine. My biggest question was how come that necromancer knows Raj?
Yes, Raj was very concerned about that as well.
Yeah, that may not have come up.
He spoke to Raj and they knew each other, and Amos was real curious about that one.
Correct. And so we sink down below the waves into that cracked conch that sits upon the sands at the bottom of the sea in the bay known as Madas Bay. Our 4 heroes stand around the necromancer who's had his hand impaled to the floor by a certain Demos, and that is where we find ourselves. What are the 4 of you doing? The necromancer is out for the count, basically. Blood loss, fatigue, terror, who knows?
Well, I guess we take him to the merfolk.
Yes, we destroyed the crystal already, correct?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Let us take
Yeah,
this
that
take this man to the merfolk. Let them know we have solved their problem, and hopefully our own for the time being.
And I'm thinking there's an exit out there, and I point beyond the crystal. Didn't they say that there was an entrance borne in at the other end of the shell?
There's actually the hole in the roof that had been
Oh,
rent open.
well, let's go out that way. It's closer than the other way.
Very good. Very good idea.
All right.
Do we want to tie him up and gag him, though?
Got it. On it.
maybe see to it that he doesn't bleed out. So I'd
Sure.
try to do that.
On the necromancer, sure. Give me a medicine check.
Twenty.
Yeah, you stabilize
30,
him.
30, 20.
You absolutely stabilize him. Not a problem at all. You bind using bits of wet cloth or seaweed, as you're probably more accustomed to, the wound around the impalation, and then he is free to move without a problem. The four of you swim up and out of that rent in the roof, and after a few moments of being above the conch shell, you see a congregation of merfolk very nervously approaching, led by the one that you know as Arkun. And she is leading the delegation, and very slowly looks cautiously with those strange merfolkian eyes of hers. You have destroyed the danger?
Yes, we have neutralized the danger. This is the man who
Captured
was
its
causing
source.
it. This was the man who was controlling it, and we have destroyed the crystal that he was using to capture souls and power this dangerous artifact.
She looks behind her, and two heavily muscled guards swim forward, their bronze breastplates emblazoned with this rather ornate squid-like design, their ancient helmets with beautiful coral crests washing out behind them. They hold large tridents, and they make their way forward. They put a hand on either side of the necromancer's shoulders and start to move away with him. I assume you hand him over.
Okay, I got my belaying pin out from his hand, though. That's mine.
Wrench. Ow! As you do. Yes.
Wake up, Buttercup.
He is taken away. Arkun drifts forward. We cannot thank you enough for what you have done. It is the salvation of our people and nothing less.
There is some damage in your temple here. There are certain spiny growths on statues and whatnot. We saw that inside these spiny growths were being kept some entities, probably merfolk people. I'm not sure whether they have been dispelled now that the stone is gone and the necromancer has been taken away. However, might be wise to clean that out and take care of those entities.
We will designate the entire temple as a site of great loss and mourning. None of our folk will dare enter the territory now. But we thank you for the warning. Will you accompany me back to our central city, I wish to bestow upon you the reward for what you have done this day.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yeah, let's go.
She turns and starts to swim back towards the central area of the city of the merfolk, known as Merkos. And you swim in amongst large structures, coral fronds everywhere. Yes?
Well, while we're swimming, I'm going to get a little close to Raj. Hey, how come that guy knows you? Big
I
evil
do
guy
not
with the
know.
beam, killed all those people, knows your name. You guys are friendly. What's going on?
I would not say friendly. For some reason, he knows me, but I do not know of him.
May I check to see if I believe this person?
You can give me an insight check for sure.
Thank you. It was being a little suspicious right now.
It's his job.
13.
13. You genuinely believe that Raj does not know this man.
All right. Sorry, I just had to make sure.
Not a problem. I understand we have not known each other long. Truth be told, so many strange things have happened to me in the short time since I have left my homeland that I do not remember everything that I have seen and done myself. There is the only possibility I can think of was when I was in the temple of the Circle of Death in a nearby city, and there was a creature communicating with a priest who unfortunately was manipulating spirits as well. But I thought that was the priestess, the centaur priestess, and not this necromancer. So I honestly do not know. Hopefully we can find out
this
more.
net than you hope for.
Mm.
But you fought very well. And thanks for saving Merrin.
Yes,
Not
I
good at
am
the
very
magics. You did
pleased.
good.
Very pleased the way we work together.
Yeah, you're a good fighter.
You eventually find yourselves in what appears to be some sort of amphitheater, although it is, by merfolkian standards, designed so instead of seats in nice, neat geometric circles around the central stage, there are levels of coral that have been smoothed out, and merfolk are gathering and slowly resting their long tails on these perches as they all sit to watch. And it is an incredibly colourful display with their long tails and all the different shimmering colours that go with the merfolk, and the various corals and things that make up the actual seats that they take their positions upon. And you are taken to the centre of this, where Arkun turns to her people and says, in a voice that has clearly been amplified by some kind of magical incantation, "Merkos, we have been saved by the surfaces. Their actions have ensured the continuation of our glorious town. There can be no doubt that they have cleaned the mess which has infested our waters, and we should be grateful for all eternity. There is no cheer that one might expect as she finishes her speech. There's just this sort of bubbling sound of various bits of air escaping to the surface, and the background sush and high of the waves as they crest above. Eventually someone shouts out, 'But it was a bloody surfacer who caused it in the first place!' That gets a lot of agreement from various individuals around. Arkun seems to press the matter. Yes, but the surfacers have helped us. It is important to realize that this has been done this day. And when we asked them, she says, looking at you, Shifty, what reward they would claim for having defeated such an evil and for restoring our precious city, they said none. That gets a murmur as everyone sort of goes, wow. I
lean towards my nearest companion, Raj, maybe. We did?
Go with it.
Just go with it. She,
Just smile.
Yeah, sure, we did. I'd like to say one thing, though. Since I don't know your name, I pointed the one who said that it was a surfacer who caused the trouble. It's the same as if one of you threw something very dangerous to the surface and then others helped here. Would you condemn all of you for the action of you?
Arkun nods. Our little Seabold speaks such wisdom. As a result of the magnanimity of our great saviors, I have decided to bestow upon them the treasure of Merkos. This gets a lot of people very upset. They immediately swish upwards, fins bristle, spines rise up. There's shouting, all kinds of things. Impossible! They can't possibly take them. They're not even under... etc., etc., etc. Someone shouts, well, maybe the Seabold, but the rest of them are a bloody bunch of landlubbers. And there's this general shouting, and eventually she raises her hands and she says, I have spoken, and so it shall be. The decision has been made. Generally, the shouting and the arguing, and it continues for quite a while until eventually she turns and she says, we must withdraw. This will quieten down after some time. She sweeps to the left, indicating that you should follow her. Her brawny guards follow in suit, and an elder merfolk you can see drifts to the middle of the room, holding his hands up. Fellows, let us calm our gills. We must talk this through. And that's sort of what you're hearing as you are leaving. Are you all leaving with Arkun?
Yeah, but I'm looking back. I'm looking back and noting the person who had shouted that it was a surfacer who caused this.
Give me a perception check.
Perception. I got a good perception. If I could find it, here we go. 19.
You can see it's one particular merfolk who has quite a brilliant orange tail with large white spots or shapes embossed upon it. He seemed to be one of the agitators, and you can see he's quite vocal when it comes to the current debate that seems to be raging on in the arena.
Current debate.
Arkun leads you into a very glamorous tower. It looks as if it's constructed out of mother of pearl, and inside are, again, lots of pearls, reflecting surfaces, crystals, and the like. Once you're inside, the doors are sealed shut, and she turns and looks at you. I am sorry for that display and reception of my people. They are angry. We have lost many to this device that you have destroyed. In time, they will recognize that you have significantly changed our lives for the better. Our only alternative was to abandon the city and head into deeper waters. That now no longer needs to happen. It is important that you leave fairly soon, however. There are dissidents, and there are those that would perhaps prefer to see a merfolkian solution to this situation, rather than relying on surfaces for assistance. You mustn't take it as a personal affront to your own ancestry. We have never had particularly good relations with those on the surface, and it is a matter of perspective, I believe. I will make good on my promise, however. I will give you the treasure of Merkos, as I believe it will help you more than it is going to help us in the coming days. We do not need war, we need dialogue.
What is the treasure of Merkos, and why were they so upset about it?
She nods, and she actually looks over, and one of the guards brings forward this quite large chest, very old, covered in barnacles and bits of detritus and that sort of thing. She opens it up, and inside there is an absolutely stunning. It's so silver that it almost looks as if it's instantly pink and turquoise and aquamarine, as it's reflecting all of the different shapes and colours within this room. The mother of pearl seems to be alive. It is a suit of scale mail that is absolutely radiant. This is the treasure of Merkos. Merkos was a great warrior, famed throughout the seas for engaging in battle with any foe, regardless of their size. He never once lost, up until the point that he decided that war was no longer the path for him, and he surrendered his scales. These are his scales. Unfortunately, that is when his opponents took the opportunity and slew him. The tale is often seen as a cautionary one, warning us never to drop our guard, as those who might come after may be aggressive. However, it is also seen as a symbol that we are not an individual, we are a collective, like these scales, and as a collective they protected Merkos. As a result, it is causing friction amongst our city elders. Some claim the treasure of Merkos to be a unifier. Others claim it to be an example of why we should not work with the surfaces. My solution is to give it to you.
Maybe to satisfy your people, you could call it a loan?
I do not think that the people of Merkos would be satisfied with any outcome in which we gave any acknowledgement or not to what took place in the shell. It is a difficult time for our people. We have been through much, and there is much still to journey through. Removing this symbol is an act which I believe will strengthen us, one way or another. Without the scales of Merkos, there is no history to which our people can cling to fight. At least that's my hope. And by giving it to surfaces, it furthers what I believe to be the right course for our people, which is cooperation with those above. That, I feel, is the best and truest way forward for the merfolk. Unless you do not want it.
Well, I want to approach it and just lift up one of the arm pieces
Sure.
and, touch it, looking at the craftsmanship and with my elvish eyes and
And and Raj
admire
was
it.
and Raj is so excited it just accidentally cast invisibility.
Yes. The suit of scale mail is, without a doubt, master craftsman like. But I need you to please give me a wisdom check, if you please.
$15.
This armor, it feels like it's got energy in it. Just holding it makes you feel stronger.
Arcana check. Nope, nothing there. Whoa.
It's just
It's not magic at all. It must be a sea thing,
could be a sea thing. Yeah.
Wow, I'm just going, wow.
Deimos, what are you doing whilst this is going on?
Deimos is considering the political implications of taking it versus not taking it, and generally making sure that Shifty isn't stealing anything just from the room. And just generally distrusting the person that gave us this armor.
All right, give me an insight check, if you please.
Okay. Oh, how's a 6 treat you?
6 is great. 6 is great. Absolutely great. You are focused on Shifty, not stealing stuff. Shifty, what are you doing?
My focus was directed on the armor of Mercus.
Yeah.
And well, my lips formed the word shiny, and I was wondering, would that suit of armor be enough to fulfill my pilgrimage?
It's an interesting one. I think you would have to spend some time with it, and contemplate it and question it and ponder it, and yeah.
So that's a definite maybe.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm looking at it, and you can see the wheels spinning in my head. Maybe one of you should wear this thing because, well, I turn into creatures, so it's not that much use to me. And the symbolic value, she said it would do most if a surfacer would get to wear it. So who of you wants it? If nobody, I can take it, but only if nobody wants it.
Well, Shifty, come here and look at it. I mean, look at the craftsmanship on this. Come here, hold it. It's beautiful. Arkoon, you said that your people have been going through many difficulties. If it's appropriate, please tell me what those are.
Before I get into what she responds, Raj, you were right there, sir?
Yes, back again.
Did you miss anything? Did you miss any of the audio? Can I catch you up? Shiny, scaly armor.
We got shiny, scaly armor, and I think we're just trying to decide who should take it now.
That's it. Absolutely right. Arkoon looks at you. As with all politics, it is complex. Suffice it to say that there are many in the Under who feel that the surfacers are taking for granted our territorial rights. We are aware there are many surfacers who believe that it is their right to use the oceans for their own purposes. This we are debating as to whether or not that is or is not acceptable. Therefore, there are tensions. We're not the only aquatic species either. The aquatic elves are always territorial, but they feel that they should lead a league of us in a united front versus the surfacers to better press our trade and sovereignty. There are some of us who disagree with that mentality. We do not think that now is the appropriate time for such measures, and we feel that with open dialogue these can be resolved without conflict. Acts such as what befell Merkos, however, the recent acts from the surfacers, does not bode well for my cause in attempting to prevent such calamities from happening.
Have you heard tell of the tentacled creature that has been attacking ships?
We are aware of that abomination, and I can assure you it is no product of the sea. That is some kind of unfortunate that has befallen the ocean, and should we find the source of it, well, that will be definitive in terms of solidifying the League's thoughts as to course of action.
How
I can
would
only
you
imagine.
How would you describe this creature in your terminology? Is it a living creature? Is it something undead? Is it...
We believe, our most learned scholars, that the creature is from elsewhere, or at the very least is inhabited by energy from elsewhere. The physical form is that of one of the trench kraken. These are not unnatural beasts, and are particularly territorial and dangerous. However, they usually remain well below in the trenches and in the dark, deep places, as is their rightful place. This is certainly not one of those. In form, yes. In action and in thought, no. It is not natural.
Now, there was a...
Sorry, I kicked the USB, and that's why it's all got insane.
Shall we quickly just do cameras off quickly?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to do
No,
that.
you're fine. You don't turn
Okay.
your camera off. All right. Then it is... yep. And then it is... Yep. And then it is... Yep. And then we're good.
There we go. I
Um,
didn't like the big old face I had hanging out in the top there. I'm like, this is the problem. People don't need to see this much of my face. It's no.
There was a gentleman in the audience we just left who said that it was a surfacer who started the knowledge of the individual involved, the name, where they're from, what they're capable of.
Of the surfacer who is responsible for these actions?
Yeah, a description or a name.
There are many amongst my folk who would point the blame at any one surfacer. There are many names. There is one that is particularly familiar to us. That name is Venetaris.
Lord Venetaris?
Your notions of nobility are foreign to us. We do not recognize hereditary titles, nor do we place faith in their ability to lead us based on blood lineage.
That
Why
is
is
so
he
progressive, and I am so about what you just said.
She nods.
so why is he suspected?
All of the great rulers of Utherios and beyond constantly use the waters around their areas, their territories, for their own gain. There are many times where we have found cargo loads worth of aquatic creatures dumped, for there was an inability to consume them on the day of their capture. This has happened in the past. This has been seen as the way in which the surfaces entreat the oceans. However, we have noticed an increase in this destruction, not just in Utherios, but elsewhere as well, around the large oceans of our world.
Yes, this abomination, as you call it, apparently kills without consuming.
That is one of the reasons why we have deemed it not natural.
Okay. Well, I guess
She looks at her
Raj?
2 guards and she says, "Leave us for a moment." The 2 guards nod and swim out, closing the doors behind them. She turns back to you. If you do discover that this creature has been created by a surfacer, I would beg you not to tell those from the below that information. All it will do is fuel what is already a strong flowing current. We must change the course of that. Otherwise, there will be a significant impact. And as much as I am terrified of your surface's powers, your surface powers are particularly ill-equipped for fighting those of us from the below.
Yes. You fear war between your people and the surfacers.
It would not be war. It would simply mean the cessation of all of the surface's abilities to use the oceans. We believe that would cause significant losses on the surface. Starvation being the first.
That's true. All right, Raj, what do we do now?
I just wanted money for a boat.
Well, let us go back to the surface. Report that this to the Adventurers Guild that this mission is complete, and continue to see. Now that we have disabled the lighthouse, if this creature is still attacking. I think that.
Check that lighthouse too, just to make sure.
Yes, we still need to go there. I think so.
Maybe
also
we
have-
should first go there.
We also have that infestation of crabs to mitigate.
Yes, that is another.
That's true. Crabs are good eating. We should look into that.
If you're referring to the crustaceans that have been dislocated from their breeding grounds, if you truly have caused this undeath-like creature you call the Kraken from being active, they will most likely return to their spawning grounds.
No, we think it's still out there.
Take credit then, at least, so we can get paid, because we're going to be out of food soon, guys. They think I'm the quartermaster now, and I really shouldn't have said okay. And I think the crazy sub-captain guy is going to lose his mind when he finds out we're broke. We're broke.
2 questions. first, maybe who or whatever is supporting that evil guy who did the energy thingy and the undead thingy back there. Maybe whoever is behind him now that we shut down this place here knows that we're up to something, so we should maybe rush to the lighthouse ASAP. And maybe the nice merfolk people would help us with food problems. And while I say that, I try to hide the suit of armor behind my back.
It's in a chest. Shit.
Both. I just swim before to hide it behind my back.
Right.
I agree with Davos. We need to take care of our crew and continue to find a way to feed them and support them as they are making our mission possible. So.
And at the same time, I think our coon doesn't have to be bothered with the problems of us surfacers.
Most definitely.
Yep.
There is a time when we must realize that we should be bothered by both our plights, for we inhabit the same space. With regards to your vessel and food, we can provide you with food that will sustain you for a few days. Thereafter, as is the natural order of things, you should forage and find food that you are capable of capturing and converting into meals. That is how we see it.
Do we have your permission to use your area of the sea to forage?
We do not own the sea. It is neither ours to give, nor would I deny it. If you are able to swim amongst the fish and hunt as your people have done for millennia, I do not see why you should be prevented from doing that.
So are we able?
Because I was just asking because you said you despise that behavior among the surfacers, and now we suggest doing the same thing.
The surfacers capture millions upon millions of our creatures and then return their rotting carcasses unused to the waters. This is unacceptable.
So, are you okay with us keeping this extra water breeding potion?
We have little need of them now, and
Okay.
should we have need of them, we will acquire more. If that is all, I must return to the arena. There will be much discussion and debate.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have fun with that.
She makes a low clicking sound, and the two guards return. They will escort you back to your vessel. You can then depart safely.
Thank you.
Yep.
She nods. The two guards open doors on the other side of the room and gesture that you should follow them with the chest and the chainmail.
I'll pick up the chest with Shifty clinging to the side of it like a little tiny dragon with a sword. Swimming up.
My shiny. You make your way back up to the surface, and there is the bobbing boat that you all know so well, facing the right way. And yes, you break the surface. Yes, Shifty.
On the way up, I'd like to do an Arcana check to find out what exactly the armor does.
Well, you can give me an Arcana check.
I think we're going to need to detect magic on that one.
That's an 18, and I don't have detect magic.
Raj can detect magic.
This armor does not seem to have any kind of arcane inscription upon it. It's beautifully made. It's definitely made out of it's not mother of pearl, because as beautiful as mother of pearl might be, it's particularly fragile. It doesn't make for very good armor. But whatever it is, it's still got that iridescence that scales have. It reminds you, as you hold it and ply it through your fingers, of watching a school of fish dart about, but in perfect synchronicity, as they always do. You want to cast Detect Magic before you break the surface?
No. Wait until we have gotten aboard the ship and had a good long rest.
Well, you climb aboard, and Captain Venedi is there. He looks at you. As you are about to breach the surface, the merfolk traveling with you grumbles that to break the potion's effect, all that you need to do is to exhale vigorously upon the surface. And then they both leave you, heading back down into the wonderfully, wonderfully blue depths of the ocean below. Venedi helps you all
essentially screaming.
climb. Right, you're essentially screaming as you're bellowing out this water. Yeah, and effectively you disgorge quite a large amount of water from your lungs. But after a few moments of maybe panic, you take a deep breath and are reminded of the wonderful, glorious thing that is scent and smell. And then you realize that it is the smell of the bosun, Mulvar, that you are picking up. Mulvar has not bathed in quite some time, apparently.
Just gonna pick up
The
Mulvar,
chest-
hold him over the side. I'll get you back. Don't worry, we're not leaving, and just drop him. you need to wash, man.
The chest is closed, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's put this away.
Yeah. This is going in our quarters. Like all of our quarters.
Don't worry, captains. Nobody on this crew saw that very expensive-looking, very old chest.
All right.
They know better.
We have to take a short rest. Well, not a short rest. A rest for the night. I believe by that time we will have provisions provide to sustain us for another 2 or 3 days, and then we must move to the lighthouse.
Oh, great. I will make preparations.
Yes. May we move to the lighthouse while we rest? Captain Venedi? And I am batting my eyes a little bit.
You want to sleep while we sail the ship towards the lighthouse? Yeah, that's fine. That's okay. It's all good. It's okay. It's fine.
I'll take first shift.
Why?
Just in case something happens.
It's about 20 miles from here to Armosakala as the crow flies, so it's going to take us maybe like 2 hours. It's not that far.
Okay.
I'll be in my bunk then.
And you all get in a long rest before you are disturbed by Captain Venedi, as the sun is slowly starting to rise, as a matter of fact. And so yes, there you are. That's where you find yourselves. He knocks on the door. I'm very glad you warned us about the provisions arriving. Strangest thing I ever saw. Yes. Well, we have fish. We have fish for about 5 days, I would say. We have our best chef working on it right now. So for breakfast, we're having fish.
Wonderful.
It raises a little question it raises a big look, the long and short. No, wait.
Just tell us.
He kneels down next to Shifty. That is to say, do you want it to be cooked or do you want it to be flapping?
I'm not really picky about this. And having lived among your surfaces for a while, I like it cooked, I like it roasted, smoked, raw. I like it all. Fish is fish.
Okay, good. We just wanted to make sure everyone is happy. On the other note, we are just off the coast of Armosakala. The lighthouse, it looks like a lighthouse.
Quiet and dark sound by the sound of it. That's good.
Yeah, actually, that's a very good point. It's very dark. As in, last night while we were sailing here, there was no lighthouse at all. As a matter of fact, if I hadn't been cautiously taking a route which would ensure the safety of my owner, the owners
Yes?
of this vessel, we would have run aground, for we were looking for the light from the lighthouse. There was none last night.
Yeah. We'll fix that. It's on the problem docket.
Okay, good. You solve aquatic problems and you are lighthouse repair people. This is good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
All
breakfast first, and then you go to the lighthouse?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll probably need a boat for that. Smaller boat.
And some grappling rope, I would imagine. There are very high cliffs around the lighthouse, but yes.
Yep.
Okay, good. Good.
This is going to be the Cliffs of Madness scene from Princess Bride, isn't it?
He bows and leaves you. Breakfast is well, let's see what breakfast is like, as a matter of fact. Breakfast is rather bad. You never believed that fish could be served slightly runny for baked fish.
Oh.
It's not so much falling off the bone as the bone is oozing out of it. Whatever the chef did, apparently it was a mix of pickling and undercooking and yeah. The crew are like, you can see they initially sort of dig in and then they realize that it's just mush. And so there's a definite slowdown as everyone questions life.
Well, when the war finally happens between the surface dwellers and the land, this will be the battle cry. Your fish is terrible.
Yep, you can tell the chef that his breakfast is very, very motivating to leave as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's a very good take on it. Okay. Right. So, you wanted the boat to go. That's fine. I will draw lots to see who is chef for lunch.
Yeah.
Good idea. And don't let the one draw who did this.
Let's have them take a break. Just, get
Yeah.
some R&R.
Yeah. No, you very good point. Yeah. Maybe, yeah, okay. So you have a longboat, but now that you have the opportunity to look out.
But before we leave, should we maybe sort out about the new set of armor?
Perhaps.
Like someone wearing it?
Might help, possibly.
Got it. Raj, you're good at detecting magics.
Yes, I can cast it. I can try to detect any magic from the armor.
All right, you cast detect magic on the armor.
You cast it as a ritual, so you don't have to use a spell slot, Rush?
Yes, that is a very good idea.
All right.
There's plenty of time.
Yeah, that's true. Whilst waiting for breakfast to be recooked, or actually just cooked.
I just helped myself to some sashimi.
Yeah. So your detect magic reveals that this armor has an incredible incredibly high level of abjuration magic infused in it. But what is unusual is that normally when you cast detect magic upon, well, let's say a suit of armor, the armor in its entirety is enchanted. What you realize is every single individual scale in this tunic with sleeves that come down to the elbows is individually enchanted.
I'm starting to go team shifting and starting to piece this thing out for sales.
Theoretically, each scale, and at a rough estimate, you're looking at about 2,500 scales, is individually enchanted with incredibly powerful abjuration magic.
So we could separate the pieces and all you benefit from the protection?
Theoretically.
That would be terrible. This is a masterwork.
Made by some really, really badass masochists.
No.
I understand the aesthetic value. I am a jeweler, but I am also thinking of the danger that we might face, and that the fact that I don't believe any of our group here are particularly fond of such heavy armor.
Nah, it weighs me down. I'm good. Let's cut it up.
But Mirren?
I
Well,
could.
I'll go with what the group says. It would be terrible to break up this beautiful piece of art, but
We have
if
to
we could
break-
use it.
We do not have to break it up in a way that it is unpleasing. I can use the skills that I was taught since I could hold my very first gem cutter. I've been trained in this all my life.
No, we
can
just
make-
turned into the crop top of Atlantis. Let's do this.
Yes. Perhaps we take and make necklaces so that we each have a necklace that provides us with protection.
Oh, that would be lovely. Yeah.
We just should never ever let the merfolk know we did this.
Oh yeah, definitely don't tell them. No. Huh?
Raj, you're going to try and clip a scale off of the armor?
Yeah.
Can I offer help in any way to this?
Well, I'm assuming Raj has some kind of gem cuttery stuff. Although no, you would have lost it on the ship, hey? Are you using a dagger?
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
The original
We've got the
Jewelers-
spine, the
jewelers
conch spine.
tools that I set out with are probably long gone.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, let me look at the inside of this. How are the joins?
Very intricate with very, very fine, looks like metallic thread, as a matter of fact. But yeah, Raj, you look at it, Miran, you're looking at it, you think that a well-placed dagger snap just at the base of the scale would cause the scale to come loose, absolutely. Do you cut it?
I will give it a try, yes.
All right. You slide the blade in between the thread and you sort of pull on it.
I take cover.
You take cover. I like that. Oh boy. All right. What is your armor class, Raj?
14.
All right.
God, we are squishy.
14. As you try and cut this thing, the arms of the suit suddenly wrap around your neck, Raj, and the whole suit flips over onto your back. But as it does so, all of the scales stand on their ends to become these micro little daggers. You take 5 points of damage as they just razor across your back. Then I need you to give me a strength check, if you please. Oh, God.
The suit knows parkour.
That's a super
Craw
cute
McGraw
darling.
will like it.
That's 18.
18 is good. I rolled a natural 20, unfortunately. So the suit, once it's wrapped around your neck and flipped over onto your back, the whole suit flicks you head over shoulders into the bunk at the side of the room, and then stands floating in the air, the two arms almost in a boxing style.
I was born for this day. I approached the suit.
No. Don't hurt yourself before we go out.
Back up,
All
Mary.
right.
I know what to do. This is the pride of my people.
The suit spins and looks at you.
Huh?
Raj drops the knife. Okay, this was not the best of ideas.
That could still work. Just gotta knock it out.
You
Feel like the
raise
Street
your
Fighter bouncing up and down.
you raise your fists towards the suit.
Wait, please
A little
don't.
Morpheus. No.
Oh my God! Initiative.
Demas, save that for whatever's in the lighthouse, please.
I'm rolling initiative just because I want to take an action.
Thank
Oh, yeah.
you. Somebody else make sure he doesn't do the dumbest thing in the world.
Everybody
Come on, you
needs to give me initiative if you're going to act apart from lying, feeling sorry for yourself. So let's see, Shifty, what did you get? Shifty?
I'm sorry, I'm just really surprised because my. Yeah?
What's your initiative?
What's your
Hello?
initiative?
Are you there?
Apparently 19. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
19.
Five by five.
Yeah. Demos?
For some reason, that D20 really likes 17 today.
Oh, that's not bad.
14. 14 total for my initiative.
14. Mirren?
17.
Nice. Raj?
Also 17.
Oh, nice. Okay. Shifty, you are acting first. You can see as Deimos does the whole hand gesture, the scale mail reaches back as if it's about to punch him. That's what you're seeing. What are you doing?
Okay, can I jump between them and spread my arms in a way that points at me like I want you to just do the Iron Man thing, like float on me, please.
Wait, so are you trying what are you trying to convey with your body language?
Okay, I'll just use words to suit up, suit on me, please, now.
Give me an insight check.
Okay, I've broken my 17 streak. That would be a glorious 7.
You keep shouting, suit up, suit on, suit flame on, flame up, I mean water on, water off. I don't know what would Seabold be shouting. Nothing seems to happen. That's your movement. You want to do anything else?
I try and keep well, I use the second half of the action to turn around to Demas and say, stop it, we don't want to damage that thing, we don't want to damage you, we want to damage whatever's at that lighthouse.
That's what you're shouting. Mirren?
Treasure of Murkoth, back in the chest.
Oh, interesting. Give me a wisdom check, if you please, or an intimidation check, either
I
or.
was really curious about that.
Let's see what I got here, which is better. Scrolling. Okay. That's the same. That's an 11.
The suit doesn't move. Raj?
Just check my quick. My audio change.
I beg your
So
pardon?
Raj has dropped his knife and says, "My apologies, my sincerest apologies. I did not mean you harm."
Its arms seem to lower ever so slightly as its shoulder almost seems to turn towards you, Raj, to listen to what you're saying. Demos?
All right. I've had an Evil Dead fantasy about this for a long time. I would like to fight the clothing.
Are you going to swing over Shifty?
This is for you, Dad. I mean, it's shifty. It's not difficult to swing up.
No, it's not. I mean, it's really not.
Ship.
Yes.
It doesn't come up to my waist.
There's hands and tails.
Barely
and-
to the knee.
Yeah.
I can wrap around one of your lower legs.
Exactly.
Don't.
Make your attack. If
Is
you
this just a strength check? I don't have unarmed attack or unarmed attack. I didn't want to attack it with anything with my hands.
All right.
I would like to attempt to grapple.
You can attempt to grapple it. Yeah.
First, I was going to bonus action rage, so I get advantage on this.
Make your attack. Your grapple check, I should say.
Today's session
Oh,
of the
I did not
National
roll high. I
Geographic.
only got a 13.
A 13 to
Yeah,
grapple
that's all
this
I got.
thing.
That was with advantage. That's all I got. I rolled
Ouch.
rarely.
All right. Well, you swipe at it. Immediately, the armor goes from its arms lowered. Demos makes this lunge at it, and it ducks underneath. And again, you get this impression of the fish just swimming around a predator. And the armor now acts, and all that it does is you watch as it's almost swimming through the air. And as it's doing so, all of its scales, they glisten, and as they get closer to Deimos, they all stand up on the edges, becoming these very sharp little razor blades.
Cuddling with barnacles.
How's an armor class of 16?
Oh, it definitely hits. My armor class is 13.
Oh,
I'm the
alright.
easiest thing to hit.
You're lucky. You take 5 points of slicing damage as these...
Reduced to 3. Do you round up first?
I think you round... Don't you normally round down? Or is it up?
It's usually discretion, as I remember.
I don't remember. Well, it's 2.5, so let's take it. Let's take it as 2.
Okay.
Usually you round down.
Yeah,
From
I thought so.
D&D.
Yeah. Because I'm getting confused because I know in Dark Eye you round up according to where you are in the percentile, up or down depending. So yes, it slices around you. So now it's sort of moved away from Raj, moved away from Murin specifically, and now has you on its side. Back to the top of the round, Shifty.
I tried persuasion in Aquan.
In Aquan,
And in
okay.
Aquan I say, dear suit of armor, please go back into the chest.
Give me a persuasion check.
Persuasion. 22.
The armor looks very... The scales that are on the sides, they all sort of flatten down. And again, its arms seem to drop. And there's a very sad-looking shrug of the shoulders. And it looks as if it's going to start heading towards the chest.
You
Mirror?
will get to carve up baddies soon enough. Just not him. He's not a baddie.
Murin?
I move toward the chest and put my hand on the lid, ready to shut it as soon as the armor gets in there.
All right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Raj?
Raj has another useful spell that he will cast. A spell called Identify.
Okay.
Casting
You
read
choose
Twitch.
one object that you must touch throughout the casting of the spell.
Uh-huh.
You learn its properties, how to use them,
Right.
whether it requires attunement, how
Right.
many charges,
Okay.
what spells are affecting the item, what they are.
All right. It does require you to touch the object. Are you going to try and touch the armor as it floats past you?
Yes.
All right. This is a very tense situation at the moment, so I'm going to require that you make a touch attack.
Okay.
How many rounds is 10 minutes? 600 rounds?
Yeah.
A 10.
A 10. So Raj looks like he's just sort of pawing gently at the air as the armor sort of flicks and shifts around and moves.
He's
Looks kind of...
batting at the shiny.
Yeah. And then that brings us to you, Demos.
I mean, this is so much fun. It looks like it's giving up. Did I register that it seemed to be like upset by the fact that battle had been ended?
You can
Or
give me an
may I make a
insight.
check
You can give me an
to
insight
determine
check.
if I-
Give me an
yeah.
insight check. Give me an insight check. Let's see.
Nope, I'm gonna roll my special new fancy dice.
Ah.
Pretty. That is +0, obviously. 18.
18. You get the feeling that it's unhappy that it has to give up the fight and return to the box.
Okay, I will approach it.
It immediately bristles. All of its scales start to just gently rise.
And I don't know what Deimos would think to do this, but I think I'm gonna go with it and say, nah, just a friendly match. Let's just see what you got.
Then
Come on, man.
You try and pull
Essentially,
it.
it's like a non-threatening taunt. That's what I'm attempting to accomplish with my action here.
A non-threatening taunt.
Yeah, where I don't mean it harm, I mean to test its metal. And pun absolutely intended on
Of
that.
course, absolutely.
So more of a challenge.
The armor continues to drift towards the chest, and it gets to the chest, and you are convinced if there had been a body in that armor, the body would have its back to you currently at the moment, Deimos, as it's facing the chest, but then it would turn because the armor twists slightly, and it almost as if it looks over its shoulder, and its one arm raises up and does a little bit of a jerk, which if there had been the rest of the body attached, you're fairly certain the armor just flipped you the bird. And then it drifts inside the chest and folds up neatly.
I'm going to destroy that chest.
And I use my ready action
Yep,
to close the chest.
you close the chest.
So I forgot I have a storm aura, so I'm just lightning around me right now. What's going on?
Please, please,
Sorry.
do not play with the animated armor. Okay? You really want to use it, put it on.
I'm not going to use it.
Let's
I just
get
want to
out
find
of
out what
here.
it can do.
I'm going to grab my backpack and all my stuff, my 2 bows, quiver.
Someone's going hunting. Raj?
For the time being, we will leave the armor in the chest.
I think it's going to be fine. I don't think anyone's going to be able to steal it.
Yeah.
You are all heading out onto deck then, Shifty? Demos? No, Shifty's not leaving. What's Shifty doing?
Since no one wants the armor, apparently, once they are gone, I stay behind and put the suit of armor on. Or at least I try to do so.
Do druids wear metal armor?
Oh, right. Damn it.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring that up.
Well, you can put it on nonetheless if you so choose.
Just have a lot of
So
penalties.
the scales are made of metal?
You'd think so.
Okay, then it's not interesting to me.
You maybe open the box, touch it. Oh, it's metal. Close the box.
I give it a little pet and tell it, you'll get your chance.
We are
Alright.
turning this armor into an NPC. It is now my goal.
Let's see.
From now on, I'll call it the armor of the barnacle hug.
Oh. Eventually, you make your way up onto deck, and before you are the rather impressive cliffs known as the Kala Falls, because you do not want to off of the edge of one of these. Great, large grey and black cliffs, heavy dolomite stone that is forming the base of them. The sea has washed around the base, and rather unusually, the stone appears to have shattered and splintered rather than been worn smooth. And so the stones all have this rather jagged, tooth-like appearance. Above them is a cliff that rises up maybe 120 feet, and towering above that, easily reaching into the lower clouds by the looks of things from here, although it is just low fog, is the great lighthouse of Aramosi Kala.
Hey, Raj, you need some healing?
A little bit would be helpful, yes.
Could we
Roll an
assume you're
8-sider
rested
plus
all the way
3.
All right. That would be plenty enough. That will be 6 points of healing.
I do the same for Demas.
there? I'm fine. I'm good. I took literally 2 points of damage.
Oh, just 2?
Yeah, just 2.
Because he was
Okay.
raged.
Yeah.
There is,
I don't regret my
thankfully,
shirt fight at all.
as you look at these massive cliffs, you do realize, however, that there is an ancient staircase that seems to have been incised into this black rock, leading from the jagged stones and boulders that make up the beachhead of this cliffside. And that stairwell seems to lead up the side of the cliff, although it will be a particularly nerve-wracking climb, as the stairs appear to only be about 1.5 feet, maybe, wide, and there is no balustrade or railing, just sheer drop back down onto these hard stones.
All right. What do I got?
I got this. You just follow behind me. My people
All
are
right.
literally from the mountains. We can climb this crap.
This is flat as far as I'm concerned.
There's stairs. We're golden.
Gee, I don't even
And
have
I
a
will-
rope.
I made sure that I had rope and some batons.
Did the captain give us a grappling hook?
He did.
Yay.
Can I just piggyback with Demas?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just hop up.
Yay!
I don't think you add to my weight really.
I was thinking maybe I could turn it into a giant spider and take someone else piggyback, but then I thought I've never ever seen a giant spider so far, so
Makes sense. You maneuver the boat against what could possibly be called a jetty. It's just a large slab of stone that's fallen over and is fairly flat. It's the closest you can get to the staircase. It does look as if other boats have moored here in the past, as there is a rather convenient hoop in the stone, a hole that allows you to loop your rope through to tie your boat to the side. If you want to tie your boat to the side, of course.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Who gets out first?
I will. I'll get up first.
All right, give me a dexterity saving throw, if you please.
Coming right up. 19.
19. You put your foot on the black rock and realize that it has some vast amount of algae, or perhaps it's just sea scum. The rock is incredibly slippery.
Oh, good.
But you find solid purchase. Perhaps it is your experience in mountaineering. But every step you take, you feel that first slight slip and then grip as your boots maneuver about this rocky surface. The rest of you can follow up. Do you warn them that it's slippery?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First thing's like, all right, this is going to be hard. You guys, we can do this, but it's going to be slow going.
The rest of you can step onto the
It's-
rock,
it's-
and you notice it is very slippery.
Let us
Right.
use a rope to just together. I will take the rear, as I can use my claws to make myself more stable.
All
I'll
right.
take front
And
so I
that
can
way,
dig in and hold
Mirren-
on if anything goes bad.
Okay. So that puts Mirren in the middle. Shifty, are you going to attach yourself to this rope at all, since you are piggybacking on Deimos?
I don't think that's necessary. I have a baby seat in his backpack by now, I think.
We've definitely constructed a form of Bjorn for him.
Yeah, I would imagine a papoose or something like that. Yeah. All right, you are piggybacking in. Deimos, you start your way up these black steps, which you realize are equally as slippery. It is not a fun climb. There are
But-
precious few handholds as well. Yes?
I could try and lighten the way for Demas a little bit by casting Produce Flame, only not throwing it.
It is early morning, because you did have breakfast, so it's not too... by dark steps,
Oh,
I mean
yeah,
as in the
right.
stone is black and dark.
I was just thinking that the stairway would be on the west side, and since it's morning, the sun would be
Sure. Low
somewhere
lights, yeah,
behind.
absolutely, yeah. Your
Ooh.
flame definitely illuminates the staircase, making it...
Do our best.
I might have an idea for you, Shifty, if that's possible.
What?
I can put Shifty on a rope, and this is going to get weird. Go with me on this, or try. I'd like to hang Shifty from the waist with his Produce Flame and kind of use him to kind of burn off the algae as we go forward. Like a little pendulum of fire. Making our way a little bit crusty
I
and
totally
easy.
go along with this.
I'm essentially trying to Rocky Horror Picture Show Virgin Roll Call with Shifty.
Right. There's a steaming sizzle, and it might not be fast, but after you test the first 3 or 4 steps that he has burnt away, it's definitely firmer footing. There's a strange smell in the air of burnt salt, but otherwise you
It
start,
smells amazing.
you start to make progress. Raj, you wanted to say something?
I was just going to say this will be great, but just as a safety measure, I do have a feather fall spell prepared.
Nice. That's going to be useful.
Yes. Okay, ever so slowly the troop makes their way up the stairs, with Shifty dangling on a rope as a makeshift flamethrower, burning away the algae on each step. You have got about halfway when you hear this... It sounds like someone's coming down the stairs at quite a pace.
Swing my hips protectively to whip Shifty behind me.
There's this arc of fire as Shifty swings around
Whee!
out over a 100-foot drop onto solid stone spikes and then back around against the cliffside.
Deploy my non-special bow.
You get ready with your bow.
When Demus does that, you hear a silent.
Raj, you're hearing these footsteps approach.
I prepare my crossbow just to be safe.
Do you actually cock a bolt into it?
Yes.
All right. As the sound gets louder, the figure starts to come around the corner. We'll see you all next week.
Alrighty.
As a matter of fact,
Whirl shifty threateningly like a little ball of fire.
yeah, actually, I'm going to be horrid. As a matter of fact, there is no show next week. I needed to tell you guys. I'm glad I remembered now. Yeah, and it's because there is a major gaming event happening called Spiel next weekend.
Spiel.
Yes, it's from the 22nd to the 25th, which means the night of the 21st, which is when we would normally be playing. Unfortunately, I am frantically preparing for that 4-day event. There's lots going on. So if you have time, head on over to spiel.digital. You can find that. You can Google that. Spiel.digital, SPIEL.digital. And there's apparently a huge amount of stuff that is going to be happening. I know certainly we're doing a lot of stuff for that. So that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It is not only for German speakers. The shows are in English and in German, or some just in German and some just in English. All my content will be there. It's all in English. And yeah, there's going to be some interesting stuff coming out of that. I will be live role-playing on the Saturday evening, demonstrating a new role-playing system that is being launched at Spiel, as a matter of fact. So if you are craving a live show, that will be happening instead of the regular live sessions with a GM. So that will be happening. So next week, no From the Shadows Borne. I'm sorry, folks, but there's only so much that one can do in a week. Before one.
Okay, I got to fight a shirt and use a companion like a belt of pain.
It sound like happy things.
A puking one.
It sounds like I've realized 2 dreams today.
There you go.
I have a question about Spiel. Is there a fee to watch it? Or?
To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not sure. I don't think there is, as far as I know, because the way that it works is you head on over to the website, and then there is a catalogue of what's going on. I know there are official Spiel broadcasts happening on their own Twitch channel. I believe, because the process hasn't yet been finalized, that the show that I will be doing, which is the English version of the playthrough of the new RPG Talisman, will be on my Twitch stream, accessible via spiel.digital. There is also the German playthrough of Talisman, which will be airing, I think, at the same time. And whether that will be on the Spiel channel or on Orkenspalter TV channel, I'm not sure. But yes, Spiel.digital will have all of that info, hopefully soon, on their website. I was looking this afternoon. I couldn't find very much. I know that, this is normally the biggest board gaming convention that takes place in Europe every year. And it got moved to becoming a digital convention, of course, as all of them have this year. And so they're trying out something new. It's quite an interesting interface. You can go and you can look for podcasts, live events, videos, all kinds of different things that'll be all housed under the Spiel.digital banner. So there you are. All right, now I thank you to everybody who played. We've heard what floated Demos's boat tonight. And Raj, any moments to reflect upon from tonight?
Again, yeah, the suit of armor was great. Interacting with that, realizing how I could have done that better, but
how would you have done it better?
cast the identify spell before I tried to cut it.
Ah, it's a matter of timing. It's a matter of timing. I see. I see. I see. All right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to call you Sparky. Shifty?
Both goes for me. Yeah, like I love the armor, the Doctor Strange cape style.
Right.
I don't know. It just reminded me of a middling between that and one of the early Goofy comics where you can see them just boxing.
Right. Right.
I also loved the details about whoever was the chef. And yeah, I
Agree
had
with
a
them,
blast from start to end.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. Mirren, any highlights for you?
Yeah, the meal was interesting. My mother happens to be a guild sanctioned cook, so
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
this was terrible. The armor is very interesting, incredibly interesting. I mean, nicely interesting. I have some ideas.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I was just thinking, with a barbarian who doesn't really use it, we have a druid who won't wear metal armor. We have a bard slash sorcerer who isn't proficient with medium armor. So who might that armor be for?
Well, let's see. Let's see.
Metagaming.
Perhaps.
Sorry.
Who knows? Who knows? Absolutely. So, just to give you some insight, that fish story, that is how I experienced scrambled eggs in Japan. I have never experienced wet food before until I had scrambled eggs in Japan. And I thought it was just the hotel that I was staying at the first time I went there. And then I went to different hotels, and the same style is throughout. It's like it's scrambled egg. You're like, I know this is supposed to be scrambled egg, but why is it wet? I couldn't ever figure it out. And it's
Yeah, extremely over easy, huh?
right. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, folks, thank you so much. I will be doing my post-game debriefing in 5 minutes. That contains spoilers for upcoming episodes, but join me for that. Yes.
Since I can't watch the what comes next, I have a question. I can't do it in big letters because reasons. You had for the masterclass, you had your five stages form
Yes.
to fill out. Did you do something like that for this campaign too, or
For the campaign, yes. For the entire campaign, yes. There is a master plan theoretically that is at play. Yes. But for these little side adventures, I don't do them anymore. I used to do them. The reason why I don't do them anymore is because I feel that the whole point of the form is to teach you about the structure. And once you know the structure, then it's easier to go with the flow and figure out what comes next and that sort of thing. So I don't want to sound arrogant, but I don't need to necessarily do these particular adventures in that level of detail.
Yeah, these little side adventures are kind of like us being us. You know?
Well, there's that, but also this particular adventure, to be perfectly honest with you, I had not planned on you guys doing it. But once I realized how you guys work as a group, I went, okay, cool. Now I can run this in a specific way. So the adventure now is absolutely integral to the entire story. And when you look back at it, you'll go, oh, well, of course, if we hadn't done that, we wouldn't have done this and that wouldn't have happened. So, but that's just because the story is changing as you guys are driving it. But it does fall into the bigger plot, which has been planned out and is healthy and well on track to being completed in about 5 or 6 years' time.
Nice.
Anyway, no, well, we'll see. We shall see. So, anyway,
For the reason why
Thank
I asked
everyone
was-
for watching.
Yes, thank you all.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I continue that next week.
next time.
In
Next
2
time.
weeks.
Yeah, fine. We're good.
All right, thanks everybody. I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I will be back for those of you that are here, but to my wonderful players, thank you as always. It has been a blast. And yes, we will see you guys in 5 minutes. Okay, right. So I am back. I don't know where my chat went. Okay, I've got my chat there. See, still quite a few of you hanging around for the post-game chat. Not a huge amount to talk about tonight, really, in terms of this whole event. We're only playing for an hour and a half, but I think that tonight I was looking at the chat, and people in the chat were like, cast identify on this thing, cast identify on this thing. And you kind of go, well, you know, it could have been a thing to do. It could have been a thing to do. Draco Vale, they missed the treasure room. They didn't know there was treasure in there. So, but yes, absolutely. This is what happens. And so because they did miss that treasure room, that's a very good point, actually, Draco, that you start there with, is that, and Draco, you've also been on the opposite side of this. You've been on the screen. And so you know that it's sometimes just chaos and pandemonium and stuff going on and explosions and all that kind of wonderful stuff. But because they missed that treasure room, they didn't get anything from that. They didn't take any of the crystal from the dais that they shattered, which was fine. It was absolutely fine. They never searched the necromancer. They didn't search the necromancer. Again, that's okay. So I was like, well, I need to give them a reward, because I think the original reward was 50 gold pieces that had been offered to go and settle a problem for the merfolk. That's not a huge amount of money. Now, Murin did make the call of keeping that one potion of underwater breathing, because I think that could be quite useful and it could be quite fun. You know, it's an interesting one. So, yeah, the armor was specifically because I wanted to give them something that was cool and that was useful, and also, you know, we are playing in a sort of theoretically in a Greek-inspired space. We've got Deimos and you know, he's really kind of going with that, and so I wanted to start pushing this idea that they might be the chosen ones. They might be driving that. You know, it's about trying to drive that sense that they are part of something bigger. So I'd originally intended the armor just to be this really cool armor that was going to have some kind of property in it. Now, I've spoken about how to make magical items before on how to be a great GM. And I thought, well, what would the armor be of a merfolk? What would that look like? What would that be? And I thought, well, it would need to be scales, because I think that's sort of what their reference would be. But what do the scales do? And I thought, well, scale mail to me has always looked like a school of fish anyway. So perhaps it's something along those lines. So how can we drive that further? And I thought, well, what if the scale mail allows you to move around in the water really well? So it's going to enhance your armor class, of course it is. But it's got to be able to do something more than that, because otherwise why make it, right? So I thought, well, what if this armor is defensive armor? And so even if the wearer is knocked unconscious, the armor will continue to protect the wearer. It will continue to protect itself and will basically win through the day, regardless of whether the wearer is alive or dead. Because that allows it to then inspire the troops. The general has died long ago, but he's still fighting on the front lines. Well, we can carry on fighting on the front lines. So I think it's quite a cool idea to have this suit of armor, which is designed for a great hero. And the legend that goes around that, of course, is that he was never defeated. No, because even when he was dead, he was still being carried around by his armor. And it was still animating his arms to fight. So that means the armor needs to be a pretty good tactician. It needs to be a pretty good fighter, actually, to be able to do that kind of stuff. And so that's where that came from, as they were sort of examining the armor. Yeah, absolutely, Lance Sid, as you say. Lance Pickett says, El Cid like armor. El Cid was immortal, supposedly. Well, anyway, I mean, that's a whole different story. So yeah, it's an interesting one. And so I thought, well, that could be quite fun. And Dan C., thank you very much for that donation. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Pair character turning around, waving his hand, saying, hey, you, whilst lowering his glasses. Well, hey, you back. Yes. So thank you for that. So the idea then of the armor being an NPC, yes and no. I was toying with the idea once the armor started to animate that it could be intelligent. But at the same time, I kind of feel like that's almost too much. Why would you make the armor intelligent? Perhaps because it is battle armor, because it's armor that's meant to keep the wearer, not meant to keep the wearer alive, but meant to keep the morale alive, the troops' morale alive. So I think it could have a certain amount of intelligence, but I think it would always be very tactical. And I do feel that when Murin tried, she was very sharp on that in terms of ordering it back to the box. So I thought that was quite a good attempt. Her roll didn't help her there. So when Shifty went with persuasion, his roll was good, and so it decided to return to the box. But it had a little bit of sass to it. So yes, the someone pointed out that it's very much like Doctor Strange's cloak. Yes, absolutely. We can go earlier, and you could say it's like the magic carpet from Aladdin, the Disney animated show, where it's definitely got personality. I think it's more along the lines of saying it's like any kind of fantasy Disney space where this thing has its own actions, its own attitude. It might not be able to recite poetry or Shakespeare, but it definitely knows what's right and what's wrong and will continue to do that. So I think that's where the armor is going to go. And I think once Murin puts it on, she'll realize there's a defensive bonus, so her armor class will go up, because the group's armor class is actually quite low, relatively speaking, for the amount of bravado that they have. Let's put it that way, for the amount of bravado that they have. I do like that idea, Lance Pickett, that it has some memories of its previous wearers. I kind of feel like it would almost knit those memories together to make sure that it avoids what caused those wearers to die. So that's quite dark when you look at it from that perspective. It's like, well, that's interesting. Is that the memories are what caused the armor to die, or the wearer to die. And I think that could be quite an interesting one. So there we go. We could try that. We could try that and see what happens. Yeah. So again, I think it's about following the fun. I think so. Yeah, I like that. So that was that question. If you do have a question, please, as Grizzles and Thanos 103 have done, please put the word question in front of your question. Thanos 103 says, who's your favorite player character backstory? Whew, that's an interesting one. I like all their backstories. I do have to say, I think, Murin's backstory, she's got a lot of family stuff. She sends me messages saying she wrote a letter to her father, she wrote a letter to so-and-so, and she actually told me the contents of those letters as well. So she's really into the character, and I do like that. I really do like that. It's actually quite intimidating. It's like, whoa, I have to try and remember all of this stuff. Now, at the moment, I don't think I've ever been busier, and I know I say that often, but we're really, really busy over the last 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks coming up are incredibly busy as well. And so I haven't delved into them too much, not as much as I would like. Deimos has got a great backstory. And there's a lot of depth to his story, which I quite like. Shifty's got a great backstory about, and we will see some of that coming up. If they ever get to Delphinii, the city that they're supposed to be going to for the Oracle, we will see that coming through. Because Shifty's actually not allowed in Delphinii, because he may or may not have blown up a whale. So he's got some really cool backstory going on there. They've all got great backstories. I mean, Raj's thing with his father and the gem, that's going to come back to haunt him. He left Daesha to go and deliver that gemstone. So we'll see what comes of that. Yeah. So there we are. There are Lance Pickett. There are ways of going without sleep. I find it does wonders unless you're doing creative writing on someone's live Twitch session. Well, yes, you see, there we go. So that is the challenge. Yeah, we've got a lot of projects coming through. Very exciting projects too, which I think is they're really fun to do. They really are fun to do. Another question from Thanos 103. What do you see being the turning point for the party, the make or break? I don't think that there will be something like that. I think in every situation there's always that interesting question. Oh, Deimos is attacking the armor. Okay, interesting. So and so is doing this. So and so is doing that. This is happening. This is the next thing. I think it keeps it interesting. I think it keeps it dynamic. I think that the party itself, they're finding their rhythm. They're finding themselves to a degree. There's still a lot of jostling and that sort of thing, but I think they generally are learning to work better together and to pull together. So I think it's working out. I really think it's working out. Yeah. So just a reminder, please, to everybody. I think all of you were still in chat when I said it, but just in case you weren't, this Saturday there is no live sessions with a GM. That's not going to happen. Theoretically, I'm going on holiday. Well, not holiday. Holiday is the wrong word, or vacation's the wrong word as well. I'm taking a 2-day break on a Saturday and a Sunday from work. Yes, if any of you are in Scotland near Loch Ness, that's where I will be. I don't suggest you go anywhere out near that area. It sounds like it's absolutely miserable at the moment. Yes, so next week, so this weekend, no live sessions with the GM. Wednesday, no From the Shadows Borne. And then the following Saturday will be the live show of the Talisman RPG, which should be, it's going to be very interesting. I'm very intrigued by this role-playing system. So yes, hopefully we will do that. We will do that justice. Anyway, folks, we're at the end of our time. So thank you all for watching and for staying and for chatting and sharing your experiences and helping to make the armor that much more interesting. So misery is what makes us Scots. Well, yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, Nessie Hunt, possibly. We might actually have to do that because I believe that all the restaurants and things close at 6 p.m. Yeah, that may need to happen. I'm new. Steve M says, I'm new to your channel. What would you say best video start with? Steve M, I would actually say the very best video to start with would be video number 1. I know it sounds awful. I think it's called How to Tell a Good Story. But that video, it is, I think, the very first video that I ever made. That lays the foundation of everything that the channel's built on in terms of the thinking around how we create stories, how we come up with creativity and where our imagination comes from and what are the foundations of a good story. And then after that, then I would say choose your course of action. What type of GM do you want to be? Do you want to be a GM or do you want to be a player? And then start to pick and choose topics as you so desire. Anyway. All right, folks, as you can see, it's been a very long day for me, and I hope that you all have a great evening, afternoon, or midday, depending on where you are in the world. And until next time we see, watch social media, our Discord, and all that sort of thing. And we will be in touch as to when we return. Until then, however, I wish you and yours the very happiest of gaming.